This is Paul McGann, and you're listening to the Fiveish Fangirls podcast.
The tangents this week continue all the way to episode 411, because apparently last week I said 409 and I even did the 409 song, and it was actually episode 410. I'm so sorry. So back on the correct count, 411.
The lovely timey-wimey.
Yeah, I know, the Fiveish Fangirls podcast, and I'm going to try the best I can to not sing during this episode because you do not want that. Welcome everyone to this week's episode of the Fiveish Fangirls podcast. So like, join us. Let's start off like doer with the virtual table and see who's joined us this week.
This is Chrissy in Salt Lake City.
This is Sally from Wisconsin.
And this is Rachel in Indianapolis, Indiana. Hello everyone.
Hello.
Hello.
Yeah. So
Everybody's brackets intact that are playing sports
Nope.
ball?
Nope. I saw on after Purdue lost that with that win, it all the brackets, at least that ESPN had, the people filled on their website, they were all broken. There was not a single bracket that was still
It
intact.
seemed like ESPN was pissed.
Yeah.
That
means they don't have to pay out any money to any winners then.
They should be happy.
That's true.
Yeah.
But they were laying on them on social media. They were laying on Purdue like no other. There must have been an IU alum that worked for the social media account.
Never follow ESPN.
They're an engineering school. You know, you go there for engineering and vet school. So, you know.
But
what are you gonna
Indiana is a huge basketball state, isn't it?
get? Well, yes, but yeah.
So
Whatever,
think,
sports
but
ball.
Whatever.
So anyway, that dulcet tone that you heard was this week's guest, friend of Chauncey and I's, and one of the members of what used to be the Spark of Madness podcast before the pandemic ruined a lot of things for people. Welcome, Ben.
Yay! Welcome.
Yay.
How you doing?
Good. Good.
Doing pretty good.
Yep, I'm here.
Yep.
This is me.
Yay. Yeah. So, first up, news, and not a whole lot in the way of news, except coming from Doctor Who. We were teasing us yesterday. And a lot of people were like, what the heck is this? Because Russell T Davies in charge, you just never know. But they have announced Doomsday, but it's Dooms, DOOM apostrophe S, possessive
Right.
day. So
The
it's a day
of
of doom. So we have a character named Doom, new character named Doom. She's supposed to be the galaxy's best assassin, and somebody has sent a literal death after her, and she has 24 hours to either try and find the doctor or die trying.
Oh boy.
That sounds like my Tuesday.
Yeah. So, but this is going to launch later this year, but this is going to be a multi-platform, multimedia thing. So we're going to have books, we're going to have Big Finish, we're going to have comics and the magazines, all sorts of, pretty much anything that Doctor Who releases, and
Just
some
like
we probably have
Shadows of
never
the
heard
Empire.
of.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's going to kick off later this year. The magazine type comics, Penguin Random House, Eastside Games, Big Finish, BBC Audio. Each piece is going, so assumedly we're going to have 24 things, because one is going to almost be like the TV show 24, except across different platforms. So each
Start
thing,
saving the pennies now.
yeah.
Speaking
Yeah,
of
I know that was the
24,
one complaint I saw, was people are like, how am I supposed to afford all this? I'm like, well, some of it's probably going to be free or fairly inexpensive, but they're also supposed to be standalone. There'll be an overall arcing story, but each piece is also supposed to be standalone. So if you can't get your hands on all of them, you aren't necessarily going to be really lost when we get the finale in hour 24, I guess. So
And it's very tricky, especially when you've got book publishing involved.
Yeah.
Like if any of these like miss or get delayed or anything, I'm like, this will be quite the thing if they pull it off. But
Yeah.
Mhm. Mhm.
Godspeed to them.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So that's really it for the news. We got some feedback about the Academy Awards, which I know Ben is also a huge film buff. We had
I
some
didn't even
very
watch it
interest-
this year.
Yeah, we've had some interesting film discussions in the past. So
I was like, here, presenting the Academy Awards, films that no one has seen.
yeah. Most of the
No
time
one's
that
seen or
is the
heard of.
case. First off,
yeah,
what?
so many people have seen Everything Everywhere All at Once. So
Oh,
Yes.
that looks
actually
great.
didn't
That
hold
does
through
look
Yeah.
this
good.
year.
Yeah, it's so good. So,
They actually, I saw a video about the making of that movie, and it's just a bunch of small filmmakers, and all the special effects were done in After Effects, which is crazy.
Wow.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
so from Shalane, she says, I thought the Oscars this year was better than ever. I cried during Jamie Lee speech, and same with Brendan Fraser's speech.
Mhm.
Did
so
Brendan Fraser
Gilmore-
like come in on a vine and
Yeah.
on screen?
No.
Tarzan?
No.
That man better be done doing stunts for like ever.
Yeah.
'cause-
Yeah, really.
Double
Yeah.
wrap.
So
But no, yeah,
Um,
his speech was quite good.
Mhm.
she said Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio is the first Netflix film to win Best Animated Feature. That is true. She said Turning Red was good. Hopefully for Disney Pixar, they will be going into the future. They'll be better than they have because Disney's not been like collecting the animation awards like they used to back in the day.
Last year was kind of a weird year for Disney animation because it was just kind of.
I
Mhm.
think it's kind of like, I mean, their last big, let's see, they went for Frozen.
Mhm.
Um,
Was Encanto just all music, or did they win some other awards?
it didn't even win for that.
Oh, you're kidding! I thought
No,
it did.
Encanto
Okay.
didn't. Yeah, no, Encanto didn't win. Last year, no, it went to the James Bond theme.
Oh, that's right.
oh.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Why wouldn't you
Disney's.
give why wouldn't you give John Williams an Oscar then?
He doesn't need any more.
I know, but it might be his last one. It might be. You never know.
You can't. They keep saying, yeah. If you say that, and then he'll just keep living just to spite them. Be like,
Well, music gives him life.
yeah. So yeah, Disney will turn things around, but yeah, it's not really been Disney's category to immediately win like it has been in the past.
And that's something.
Yeah.
It says if you girls like,
everyone's taking it as a challenge, and they're all like, "Ooh, we got to beat Disney!" And
yep,
now
hold
it's
my
like,
beer.
Yeah.
Here we
Let's
go.
up our game.
Yeah. Well, and then going into the next Academy Awards, assuming that there aren't any delays, we're getting the next Spider-Verse movie, so that immediately is going to put Sony in the running.
Mhm.
So she says, if you girls like Brendan Fraser, then have you thought about talking about his mummy movies? Yes.
I've been bugging for that for a little while now. So
Yeah,
yes.
so
Shalane is
Michelle Yeoh
on.
is in the third one,
It's-
apparently.
Yes.
I think those movies are boring because I don't want to watch a movie about Brendan Fraser's mom.
Are you my mommy?
No, Bob.
Yeah.
No, Bob.
I mean, his British mom, his mummy.
She says, I loved when Kei Kwan hugged Harrison Ford. We all did. I still cry about it. The only reason why I love Temple of Doom is because Short Round stole the show in that film. Also, I wish she would come back in the Indiana Jones movie, which that is going around now on Facebook. People are like, I want to start a petition to get Kei Kwan to come back and do a spin-off and find out what Short Round has been up to all these years.
Spoiler, unpopular opinion, I think Temple of Doom is the best Indiana Jones movie. That's my opinion. I'm sticking to it.
I mean,
Oh,
I
man,
like all of
oh,
them.
the silence is killing.
I'm sure Steven Spielberg's
I'm-
probably got a soft spot for it. 'Cause, you know, that's where he found a wife.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
The-
yeah.
that's the worst part about the movie. But yeah, take her away.
She's-
She'd be a better
yeah.
movie.
Short Round is great. I love it.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
I was
And
like,
that
why
movie's
didn't they
not
put him
racist
in
at
more
all.
of these movies?
Bring
But yes,
back
I would
Short
totally
Round.
watch.
Round.
I would totally watch The Adventures of Short Round.
Yes.
I kind of wish that they would pass the baton off to him, since this is probably Harrison Ford's last
Yes.
Indiana Jones movie.
Yeah.
It's like,
Mhm.
why did you get him to come back and he can take on the fedora?
Yes.
Yeah.
No, Short Round has his own hat.
The next Indiana
Yeah.
Jones
Well, you
movie will have
you can-
Harrison Ford in a wheelchair,
Yeah.
slinging around in whips. You know.
Oh,
It's like the arms still work. This is like says can't remember in your girl's Steven Spielberg episode if you talked about him being nominated for Oscars but never winning. He doesn't never win. He just gets nominated a lot because he's Steven Spielberg.
Mhm.
There's a bit of a he has enough. So
Yeah.
he got him for the movies that he needed to get him from, and then that's all good. So that's all of Shalane's, and then we got feedback from Aaron, which his subject line in his email was, "She's creating a bagel to destroy the universe." Said, hello, my Fiveish hosts. What an awards ceremony. I don't think I've been this happy with the Academy in a long, long time. Firstly, for only the second time in the 2000s, all 4 acting winners played original characters, no real people. 2017 was the other year. Secondly, and more importantly, everything, everywhere, all at once. This is going to be one of my favorite Best Picture winners, and to see it win so many other awards was just amazing. Yo, winning actress made me cheer for joy, and I don't think I've ever been so happy to see Cate Blanchett lose. She's got her. She's fine. Fraser winning actor made me tear up with joy. I didn't like The Whale, but he gave the performance of a lifetime. Kwan taking supporting actor was a lock, but it was still a relief to see that there wasn't an upset. Like Fraser, I really hope this second win helps him go further. We can all hope that. I never thought I would be disappointed to see Jamie Lee Curtis win an Oscar, but here I am. I think she's great, but Bassett should have won. Bassett carried the emotional weight of Black Panther, and to see her lose was just a travesty. People complain all they want about her visible disappointment, but she's allowed to be disappointed. That is true. She's only human. And if I'm being completely honest, I don't think Curtis was even the best supporting actress of her own movie. Stephanie Hsu was. You're watching EEAAO for the third time. I was reminded how much more Hsu had to do and how much better she does it. They're both so really good, but for different reasons in that movie. Is a thing. Is just, you know, Jamie Lee Curtis brings a little something that you don't see from Jamie Lee Curtis because you're usually just used to seeing her in, you know, Halloween movies. So I mean, they could have given it to any 3 of them and I probably would have been okay with it, is the thing.
Yeah.
So it was really just a 3-way tie, and the other 2 were just like, yeah, well, we got to round out the ballot. So
Yep. Yeah, because even in our chats, like, what happens if there's a Best Actress tie? I mean, we know it hasn't happened in ages, but what if?
Yeah. Oh. So finally, you all were all surprised at Women Talking winning an adapted screenplay. I highly recommend it. Sarah Polley wrote and directed a near masterpiece. I can't believe she didn't get a director nomination nor any of the cast acting nominations. It's a heavy movie dealing with a serious topic, but it's tremendous. As always, take care, Aaron. Thank you, Aaron. I'm sure I'll probably watch it when we get to that year in Gold Standard. So, because I tend to do
love
that.
that story.
Yeah. I tend to watch some of the other nominees on top of the winner. I can speak. I know English. So
Yes, Rachel, we
you
all
can't
know we
word
want
good.
winter to go bye-bye.
yeah. So Well, thank you both for your feedback
Yes.
as always. So, but now to this week's main topic, and the reason that Ben is here, because I know this is one of his favorites as well, is we're going to talk another musical,
Mm-hmm.
specifically Les Miserables. And yes, we will be talking about the 2012 movie, because you kind of have to.
I got a lot to say about that.
Yeah, me too. So obviously we mentioned it because we have talked Victor Hugo before when we talked about Hunchback of Notre Dame. So we
He's
don't
a nice guy,
necessarily
that
need
Victor
to.
Hugo, when I talked to him the other day.
Yeah.
You know, about Catholic, though, right?
Yeah, we don't have to necessarily get into Victor Hugo again, but obviously this is a novel. I think they're using the term novel very, very liberally, because the book is huge.
The book
Isn't
is
it-
huge.
Don't they
The-
use that
the-
book for the mob and to tie people down to?
I'm
when they throw
pretty
'em in the river?
sure. I am pretty sure it
John-
doubles as
John-
Extra
concrete
weight.
shoes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
shoes.
The
John
Les Mis shoes.
Valjean
Get the Les
does
Mis
not
shoes.
show up
Yeah.
in Les Mis, the book, until like
Chapter 14.
you're like 10% through it. I think I can't remember what the percentage is, but it's like you meet the bishop, and there's like 3 chapters on just the sewers of France or of Paris.
Yes.
But your main character doesn't
It's
show up.
365 chapters. Literally, you
Oh
could
my
read a
goodness.
chapter every day and it would take you all year.
Yeah.
Holy crap.
I'm just like, yeah.
The fact that they can condense it in a 3-hour musical is
Is
impressive.
beyond, yeah.
Well, because there's a lot of filler is
cut
the
out,
thing.
cut
is,
out the crap
is
about the sewers and you're already
Yeah.
well on your way.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
it's like it's 5 volumes, each volume divided into several books and subdivided into chapters for a total of 48 books and 365
my
chapters. In
Gosh.
French, it is 655,478 words.
Oh my gosh.
So- But a quarter of the novel is devoted to essays that either argue moral points or have nothing to do with the actual plot. So yeah, there's a whole section about the construction of the Paris sewers, the street urchins. He even goes into a whole chapter about the Battle of Waterloo, which has absolutely nothing to do with the plot. So it's like, yeah,
Get a history
it's-
lesson too.
It is.
Mhm.
It is it's a history lesson for the country of France that has absolutely nothing to do with the plot. So yeah, once you strip that all away, then you get the slightly over 2-hour version that I listened to audio wise, that I was able to find via my library on the
I would lose
audiobook
interest
app.
if the hero of the book is not in it until like
14 chapters in.
chapter. You know.
14 chapters in.
Yeah.
Oh.
What a feat to make that musical.
Yeah. So I mean, and once we get to the actual plot, some of it is all based on his own experiences wandering around France. He witnessed someone who'd stolen a loaf of bread and got arrested, and a woman with a small child, and of course those urchins and prostitutes and all that fun stuff. So a lot of it is based on stuff he actually saw in the from about 1829 up until the book was first published in 1862, which means last year was the 160th anniversary of the book, their first being published. So but yeah, and what's funny is if you look at the adaptations, the listed adaptations, there's a Wikipedia entry just for the adaptations of Les Miserables.
Wow.
They were doing adaptations starting the year that the book was published.
Wow.
Yeah, there was a play, I want to
Somebody
say.
had their finger on the button.
Yeah. There was, I can't find it
It's
now.
like Steven Spielberg getting the rights to Jurassic Park before the book was finished because he was friends. with
Yeah,
George
really.
Lucas.
Yeah. Yeah, there was a
but Jurassic Park's a completely shorter book.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
you still have to adapt it and write a script and cast it, and it's like, I mean, just adapting it is going to be a pain in the butt.
Yeah. The very first play was released the same year that the novel was published, and then another one, and another one, and then another one. So it's been adapted for the stage in a non-musical version for 160 years. And then, of course, as the media changes, there's been lots of book adaptations, so not reprints of the original novel, but people taking their own, thing with it. There's been unofficial sequels in book form.
Les Mis 2.
Yes.
Coming to a theater near you.
Yeah.
This time
Cosette means business.
Jean Valjean comes back from the dead, from the catacombs of France.
Les Mis 2. You thought Cosette was good with a broom? Wait till you see what she could do with a sword.
Featuring Jean Valjean wielding his hard loaf of bread.
Yeah. There's been comics, Western style comics. There's been mangas, although those are fairly new. And then lots of film.
I like Jean Valjean versus Godzilla. That one.
Jean Valjean, Iron Chef edition.
Yeah.
Well, because the funny thing was at the end of the one thing that you had the present YouTube thing that you had shared with us, where they had brought in all the other Jean Valjeans, the one from China or Japan is the actual chairman from the original Iron Chef, that Food Network.
Oh, that's funny.
Yes, because I'm like, wait a minute, that's the chairman.
Well, the chairman is usually played by an actor, so even the American Iron Chef Mark Dacascos, he's a well-known actor, done a lot of things.
Oh yes.
So, still beat me up though. There's been film adaptations, obviously non-musical adaptations since the early beginnings of film. The Lumiere brothers, who were kind of the captains of early cinématographe motion pictures, did a short film called Victor Hugo et le principal personnage des Misérables in 1897. There's been
one adaptation I saw on Turner Classic Movies years ago. I think it was done in the 40s or 50s, and Javert was played by the one actor who actually played Long John Silver in the Disney's Treasure Island, and it was really good. It was really cool. It was really. I actually thought this is a really, really, really good version of it. It was. It's black and white, but I really liked it a lot.
Yeah. Well, say there's a 1935 version where Charles Lawton of Mutiny on the Bounty plays Javert.
So what's
there's actually the first adaptation nominated Javert for an Academy Award for Best Picture. So, yeah, there's been lots of American French all over the country, Korean, Turkey, Japan. They've all had their go at it. In 1998, there's the version with Liam Neeson as Valjean, Jeffrey Rush as Javert, Uma Thurman as Fantine, Claire Danes as Cosette. That is an interesting cast.
So the one I'm thinking of is the 1952 version. of Les Miserables.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a pretty good one.
Yeah.
Oh, look, the bishop is played by the guy from Miracle on 21st Street in that. That's funny. Yeah, the original Santa Claus. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
And then there's been TV adaptations as well across various countries in different lengths. Anywhere from 2 hours to 6 to 8 hours. So there's been animated versions. There's been radio adaptations. There was a 1937 7-part series written, produced, and directed, and starring Orson Welles.
Really? I didn't know that.
Yep. Predating the Mercury Theater on air.
We know Les Miserables.
I was gonna say, you do Orson Welles, Ben, so it'd be really fun to hear you do Orson Welles doing lines from Les Mis.
Yes. Before you say another word, Javert, before you chain me up like a slave again, listen to me. There's something I must do. Yes, always. That wasn't the best
was
version.
brilliant. That was great.
They're crap.
Somehow that doesn't surprise me that there's a version with Orson Welles.
I want to see it now. I want to see it so bad. But it's just an audio. It's
just radio. Yeah. So,
but I still
of course,
yeah.
Of course,
track that down.
Yeah. Of course, most people know it best as a musical. So, which originally the original musical was in French. It was in French.
Oui.
In 1980. So, and then in 1983, so 40 years ago, after Broadway producer, or I guess theater producer Cameron Mackintosh opened Cats on Broadway, he got a copy of the concept album from the director and asked Mackintosh to produce a English language version.
And that's the beginning of everything.
And then 1985, all hell broke loose, and we've been going at it ever since.
We're hearing a lot of people singing about the songs of angry men.
Yep. So it is the what's funny is initially when it opened, the critic reviews were actually bad. One critic described it as a lurid Victorian melodrama produced with Victorian lavishness.
And he's never created anything in his life.
And another called it a witless and synthetic entertainment.
They're great at parties.
Okay.
While apparently literary scholars condemn the project for converting classic literature into a musical. Yet now we have SpongeBob and Shrek the musical. So
yeah,
true, but you know what?
See where we are now.
But those
probably those same guys probably said, "Oh, you shouldn't turn books into movies," and I'm kind of like,
but
that's how they do now, though.
There are probably people that are like, "Oh, the Beatles, they're just a flash in the pan."
But those guys are silly because it introduced a whole new audience that would never know that story. You know what I mean? And it made it accessible for people. Now they may not read the book, but it made it more, accessible.
Well, and it's such a good story. Like, I cannot tell you how many times that I have heard lines or parts of the plot from Les Mis, like in talks at church, or in church lessons, or things like that. It's just, there's sort of some morality to it and a little bit to it, but it's like it's more than just that. Like, it really connects with people.
It's a spiritual movie.
Yeah, it is.
It
has some very obvious religious tones to it. I mean, there's a bishop. They're constantly singing about God.
Well, the end of it, like my favorite line in the whole musical, and remember the truth that once was spoken: to love another person is to see the face of God.
Yeah.
Take my hand, I'll lead you to salvation.
the truth that once was spoken. To love another person is to see the face of God.
So
Yeah,
I saw I was looking at Les Mis related TikToks, and I came across one where the person had put the text on the screen and says, "I may not be religious, but but when the minute Les Mis starts, it's like going to church."
Uh-huh.
Like,
Well, it's
I
the
gotta
story
feel
about
it.
the stories
forgiveness.
about forgiveness, about second chances. I mean,
Mhm.
the whole idea is like, he's stealing the candlestick, or he's stealing from the church, and he's getting caught, and the bishop could just say, "Oh yeah, take him away," but he's like, "Oh no, like, here, I'm giving you all of these things." And so it's like,
Covers up
yeah,
for him.
you could have enacted mortal justice, but you also extend godly mercy to him. And it's like, that's the big part. And it's like, well, if that's all you know and understand about Christianity, you've got the idea, you've got exactly what this is all about. And so, yeah, of course, I mean, if you're not religious or anything like that, but you love Les Mis, well, believe in that at least.
Mhm.
Well, what love, kindness. That's
Yes.
that's what God is.
Yes.
Yeah.
Not to make this your Sunday school class, but that's what
Well, that's
the
our Monday
story
school.
is.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But yeah, because I
Well,
mean,
That's the story of Les Mis.
I
Yeah.
love the musical parallels between Second Chance and Forgiveness, between Jean Valjean and Javert. They sing the exact same song.
mhm.
This is Jean Valjean's soliloquies, and Javert's, I don't want to spoil it for people, but he jumps
You
off a
can
bridge.
spoil it.
Javert's suicide. So one person who got forgiveness can't, like, it doesn't even, he just overwhelmed and changes his whole life around and does so much good. And the other one, just his brain, like he everything he believed in, he just couldn't cope and accept it. He just didn't know what to do.
What have I done, sweet Jesus, what have I done? Become a thief in the night, become a dog on the run. Have I fallen so far, and is the hour so late that nothing remains but the cry of my hate? The cries in the dark that nobody hears, here where I stand at the turning of the years. If there's another way to go, I missed it 20 long years ago. My life was a war that could never be won. They gave me a number, murdered Valjean, when they chained me and left me for dead, just for stealing a mouthful of bread. Yet why did I allow that man to touch my soul and teach me love? He treated me like any other. He gave me his trust. He called me brother. My life he claims for God above. Can such things be? For I had come to hate the world, this world that always hated me. Take a knife for a knife, turn your heart into stone. This is all I have lived for. This is all I have is he to have me caught in a trap and choose to let me go free? It was his hour at last to put a seal on my fate. Wipe out the past and wash me clean of the slate. All it would take was a flick of his knife. Vengeance was his and he gave me back my life. Damned if I'll live in the death of a thief. Damned if I'll yield the end of the chase. I am the law and the law is not mocked. I'll spit his pity right back in his face. There is nothing on earth that we share. It is either Valjean or Javert. How can I now allow this man to hold dominion over me? This desperate man whom I have hunted, he gave me my life, he gave me freedom. I should have perished by his hand. It was his right. It was my right to die as well. Instead I live, but to live in hell.
And so his world was apart. I mean, that's part of the lines. And he couldn't handle it. You know what I mean? But he still was overwhelmed by that forgiveness.
Yeah.
I'm getting a little teary.
Mhm.
I'm gonna stop my video.
I
It's all good. It's all right.
totally understand. It
Mhm.
came through Indy last week, and of course, I had to go see it. And I did not make Chauncey tag along this time. So he was a good sport and went to Hairspray with me because I knew that it was more his speed because it's the 60s, it's fun music, it's colorful. I was like, you're gonna be depressed if you go to this. So I was like, you do not have to go. And he's like, that's fine. He's like, I would have gone with you. And it's like, no, it's fine.
Trust
I
me,
actually
you'll
think
thank me later.
I lost track of how many times I cried.
Yeah.
And this is the third time I've seen this show live. So it's
well,
like, and I was just
we-
like, I had a pile of napkins next to me from my dinner because I knew I was going to cry at least a couple of times, but like I was just crying like every other song. I'm like, oh,
Could we talk about though the difference between the actual musical and the movie? Like in terms of, like I cry more at the musical.
Absolutely.
Well,
I get goosebumps just thinking about some of the songs that I've a lot of people, not just Chrissy, but even Nick. When I was talking to Nick recently, and he was like, the only version I've ever seen is the 2012 movie, which is now a decade old as of last year. So, and
you want me on this podcast or not?
We try not to.
I might invest the movie.
If Captain America says it, it's fine. That's our
Okay.
cursing policy.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
shit, damn.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Sometimes things get a little heated, but no F-bombs, please.
Yeah.
Okay.
The only person I've ever had to censor is Lloyd Kaufman from Trauma. So but that's fine. He's from Trauma. That's what you're gonna do. So if you've only ever seen the movie,
You haven't
at
seen
least you know who the characters are and the general plot, which is good.
There's
will
some
give
good
them
elements. There's some good elements in there, like the
right.
the woman that plays
Eponine.
Eponine, and then what's his name playing Marius. I think those are two good. And then what's his name? Gosh, I'm having a boomer moment.
Well, here I will say this is because the first encounter with the story I had at all, other than people quoting it in church, is the Liam Neeson movie, which I quite enjoyed. I was like, oh, okay, now I understand the story, and it was very moving, very heartfelt, very
90s.
like okay, yeah, very 90s that too. But I'm like, okay, I understand why people like this story and have spiritual experiences with it. And then I listened to a couple of soundtracks. I couldn't tell you like which performances, what year they came out or whatever. It's like friends had them, and I was like, man, these songs, this music is so good, and it's like, yeah, I'm kind of getting it. And then I saw the 2012 movie, and I'm like, do I really need to look up Hugh Jackman's nose like that? I mean, I like Hugh Jackman, but not that much.
Yeah. Oh
But
boy, don't. Ugh.
but like I think it's like once you put the music with the story, that's where the waterworks come from.
Right.
Obviously.
And some of it comes from the casting, although actually the casting is actually not that bad. As much as people like to throw Russell Crowe under the bus,
He's a good singer.
Russell Crowe actually can sing. He's got a band, but he does like country rock. So this isn't necessarily his speed as far as singing. You do have some very talented people that have experience in musicals, both on stage and in film. I mean, obviously Hugh Jackman is done Broadway several times. I think he won a Tony for Boy from Oz. Helena Bonham Carter, she's no lightweight when it comes to singing and stuff. So, and Sacha Baron Cohen is actually very talented as well. Samantha Barks, who played Eponine, actually she played Eponine in the 25th anniversary concert. So she was the one person who had already had experience with the part she was playing. So like the casting isn't necessarily bad. It's the production and their decision, because the producer, not the director, the producer, when looking for a director, he was like, I want somebody that can do something different that still is honoring the stage version, but makes it something different enough that people will remember it. So
and
when
we do remember it, but not for
and
the
we do remember it. So then they hired Tom Hooper, who was like, I think the best idea is for it to have everybody sing live instead of lip syncing, which you do most of the time.
It was a good. It was interesting that they tried it. It was cool that they tried it, but it didn't work. But he did it again in Cats when he made Cats.
I would say this was the same guy that ended up giving us Cats. So
yeah, he didn't learn. But
no.
So the music. So my problem with the music is that, first of all, the orchestra needs to be swell and huge, and you need to belt and all this stuff. But there's a guy, I forget his name, but he does musical theater commentary on YouTube. But he went and did a video essay about Les Mis, the movie, and he talked about they put these characters, like you said, Russell Crowe's a good singer. All these people are pretty good singers, but they put him in the worst condition to sing. Like you're crying in emotion, and like you water on you, like your vocal cords are gonna be tight. It's like there's a reason why they do it. And I think the music wasn't as large. Like the orchestra, like the symphonic score is nothing compared to the like 50th anniversary or the 30 or the 20, whatever the anniversary ones. Even the Broadway versions. But he was talking about how people sing. And so when you watch a singer on Broadway, yes, they're emoting, but they're not really emoting in terms of like losing it, because singing has so much control. But they're playing with feeling, but they're not like crying. Like it's hard to explain, but he does a really good job explaining that.
I think I have that one linked in the show notes. I think I know which video you're talking about. I think we watched the same one.
My biggest thing was like when I was sitting in there watching this movie, I'm like, why is everything so ugly? And I'm not talking about the people necessarily, although some of those camera angles did not flatter them, but just everything. I mean, I was led to believe like this is a sweeping, glorious, there's a lot of hard things that happen to these characters, but excuse me, ultimately it's about hope and love and forgiveness. And I'm like, this just looks so, and even like at the end when Valjean is dying, spoilers, and I'm like, we're supposed to be having this big emotional moment. I just cannot get over how ugly everything and everybody looks.
Well, they're probably trying to play on the miserable feel of it,
Well, yeah, that, but it's like they're singing and they're emoting and they're trying to do all these different things, and the actors can't you can't do everything all at once, and you can't make it look good and sound good all in one go. And the other thing with musicals, it's on stage, so it's like further, even if you're on the front row, you're further back, but on the movie you're like right there, you know. Yeah,
use
way
a really
up close.
wide angle too, which is unflattering too sometimes.
Yeah, and it's like it's on the big screen, and so even if you're in the back row, it seems like it's really close, and so it's like you really needed to do this. Yeah, you know, tell the story you know, as it's told on stage, but tell it in a way that looks good and sounds good in film.
I agree.
Two different things.
Well, one thing they didn't do is use the medium of film. They didn't use the medium of film to enhance the story and tell things that we never saw in the actual stage play, because they couldn't really show it because it's a big black stage, you know, with a godlight on somebody, spotlight, you know. And then so you know, John Valjean's soliloquy right after he gets the forgiveness from the bishop, who is played by Colm Wilkinson, original Jean Valjean. And I actually played the bishop on stage before too. I played the bishop, and you know, they spend the whole time in that chapel, and it's pretty and everything, but it's going back and forth. But I thought, you know, why don't you every verse of that song show his progression of how he became the mayor of that town? You know what I mean? Show like his journey, like, you know, da 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 dum. You know, next cut is him somewhere else, da 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 dum, and then he keeps bum 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 bum. You know, he keeps going, and finally, you know, at the very end, he can belt out, and he's the mayor of the town. You know what I mean? And now we're there. You could do that with almost all those songs. You could tell different little pieces visually why someone sings that we would never get in the musical version, you know, but it's most likely in the book, you know. So that's my thing. And I love, you know, the original performance. I don't know if they do it now. I think the last time I show it, they don't have the revolving stage anymore. But the original one did. I thought, you know, why not use that convention in the movie too? Like every major transition, just do like kind of a revolve, you know, or something like that, you know. And it's like you know, like you revolve, like you can actually probably put on a track, you know, and revolve it, and everything like changes, you know. There's so many things you could have done in the medium of film, but you know, that director sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and that's why we have cats.
Yes.
No. Twitch.
Yeah.
Well, it's probably a good thing that he did Cats, because now we can talk about that and not Lameness.
Yeah.
Well, he did Cats, and now he's in the doghouse.
Yeah.
Nice.
Don't laugh at that. Don't ever laugh at that.
He's in the doghouse now. He's in the doghouse now.
I gave him Kipling bits.
Yeah. Well, and there were even some things I'm pretty sure it's the same YouTube video where he's talking about, you know, Valjean's soliloquy, and when he decides he's going to break parole, he rips up his papers, and that's supposed to be in time with the music, and they don't do that with Hugh Jackman, because there's no music for him to follow.
Yeah.
Because all they did is they mic'd up all of the actors. They put little lapel mics on them and hid them in their costume as best as possible. And then they had a person playing piano into the actors' earpieces. And the person playing piano, though, was in like this plexiglass box that was soundproofed, so that all the cameras and microphones wouldn't pick up the piano. But so you just had this person playing piano, so this very basic score for them to follow. So they're not getting the full score.
Well, they're not feeling it
to follow.
You know, if you were feeling the music, like an actual full orchestra as an actor. Oh my gosh, the emoting and in the feels that you can get to belt something out, you know, like use it, you know. And they didn't have a tempo. They didn't have a tempo.
They didn't even bother to give him a click track to follow.
No, there was no tempo. And like music has tempo. You can't just kind of make up, you can't like have the tempo keeps changing here and there. And that guy talks about it. It's like you can still like do some variations of stuff, of delivery and finishing up notes and things like that. but you have to have that tempo to do it.
I mean, in some of the
some of
behind the scenes, the behind the scenes stuff, and Eddie Redmayne, who probably had some of the least experience out of the cast, as far as the singer, which is crazy considering he's one of the best in the movie.
Amazing.
And he was talking about, well, if we had done it the traditional way, we would have gone into the studio and do a cast recording months in advance, and then that means you'd have to make your emotional acting decisions then. And I'm like, oh, Eddie, there's still wiggle room, even
I'm gonna tell
doing
you
this traditional.
To me, the best movie musical that I love that married, shooting the cinematography and look, plus using their lip sync and stuff is Evita. Evita is one of my favorites. It's pure, I wish they would have done it like Evita, because they shot it in real places, and it's it has this gritty feel to it, this texture to it, but also the music is so epic and clean and large. So it just felt like a great that movie's an underrated musical, but I wish they would have done it like that, in my opinion.
Yeah, because there's still room to play, even if you've already, even if you're lip syncing to something that you've already recorded. Because I mean, there are things you can do as far as facial expressions and stuff that will still.
Yeah.
Well, you still have to. When
you still
lip
have to
sync,
act.
you still have to sing.
Yeah.
You're not you're actually still trying to sing.
Yeah.
It's still hard to match it up, but I'd rather do that than Sweeney Todd did it, and Sweeney Todd is great. Sweeney Todd, they did the same. They pre-recorded. It sounds great.
Well, and if you pre-record and then later you're like, oh, it doesn't match up. That's what ADR is for.
Yes.
So there are so many ways and so many chances to get it right, or give your editor, director enough to work with to make it look good. Whether as you're doing it live, it's okay, I'm sure they did several takes, but it's okay, that's it, we're done, moving on.
And I don't like the handheld camera. I don't like that. I like give me some great imagery, some iconic imagery. They could have done so many different things, but because if they would have taken those guys in the studio like Russell Crowe and even Hugh Jackman sounded bad. He's a good singer. He's a great, but he's a good singer.
Shocked me the most. I'm I know this guy can sing.
He's got the chops to it.
He would have been a better Javert.
I watched him in he was in. They were showing Oklahoma on my local PBS one time, and I watched. I'm like, man, he is good.
I mean, Greatest Showman's good.
Exactly.
Yeah, Greatest Showman's amazing. Well, the music is.
and there's nothing wrong with auto-tune. Everybody does it, but it's just how much.
Right.
Not
it's
Beauty and the
nice
Beast. It's not Beauty and the Beast. Beauty and the Beast auto-tune was terrible. But you can ask Emma Watson. But yeah, she's.
We do not speak of that here.
Voldemort.
Blasphemy, I say. Anyway.
Well.
Or should I say, we've already spoken of that here, so we will not speak of it again.
Oh, okay. Forgive me. I just love French musicals.
Yeah.
Well, you can talk about the animated one all you want, because
oh my god,
that was
gold, the cinematography. Yeah, all right.
Yeah.
We're talking about Les Mis.
Anyway, Les Mis. Back to Les Mis. So anyway, 2012, it sucks. Which it didn't need. It didn't have to suck, but it does. So and we feel bad for everyone in it, because although Anne Hathaway did a really good job.
She did.
And she did win an Oscar.
Yes, that is true. That is
true. You can't.
And let's talk about
considering how little time Fantine is actually in the story.
Yeah,
says a lot. So I mean,
absolutely,
Fantine's a really good character.
Yeah,
her songs are amazing. What's her name? Who did the oh gosh. She was Miss Saigon, the original Miss Saigon, and I think she was the voice of
Leah Salonga.
Yes, she played Eponine originally, and then as she's gotten older, she played in the recent version.
She played Eponine in the 10th anniversary.
Yeah.
And then for the 25th anniversary, they bumped, she got to play Fantine. Although the original stage, the very original version, the English version, it was actually Patti LuPone played Fantine originally.
Wow.
So, but yeah,
one of the if you want to listen to the whole musical, the complete symphonic recording is a really good one. It's a 3-disc set.
Cool.
And it has Philip Quast as Javert, and he's the best Javert. I think he's an Aussie. What's with these Aussies playing Javert?
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
I don't think I've listened. I don't think I've listened to that one. I've listened to the
Philip Quast
I've got
played Javert in the first Albert Hall recording. So he was the best Javert in that time, but he's like real precise and precision. He's got this clean militaristic voice, and then Colm Wilkinson has this very grizzled and rough, but like nature kind of like earthly voice, and it just works. Just works. I did
I'll have to give that one a
covers.
listen.
I did a couple covers of I sang, by the way, of Bring Him Home, and then I did John Valjean soliloquy. It's on YouTube somewhere, so you can search for that and hurt your ears when you listen to it.
No, you are better than me.
Okay, that one that you're talking about, I think it might be the short version for 88, but the one with Philip Quast, the complete symphonic, is on Spotify for those who are wondering. I had to do a quick search.
And I will have linked in the show notes. Unfortunately, the 10th anniversary concert is it is available. Somebody actually used AI to do a cleanup, and has put it up on YouTube. So that's the version that I've been sending when I'm like, no, watch this version. I mean, the anniversary versions, the 10th and the 25th, they are concerts. So the cast they're wearing costumes, but they're not doing the big set pieces. They're not doing like the choreography. There's not a lot of props. Like, Fantine does not cut her hair and suddenly she, all of her hair is gone. The cast is sitting up there on stage waiting for their turn to come up to the microphone and sing, and they're using a full choir as backup as opposed to having, a full cast.
It's epic.
Yeah, so it is very epic, but those are some of the best performances of some of those songs that you're ever going to hear.
Which
I mean, hearing
Colm
Wilkinson sing Bring Him Home is almost a spiritual experience.
God on high, hear my prayer. In my need, you have always been there. Easy let him rest, heaven blessed. Bring him home, bring him home.
Did you know that
So-
Colin Wilkinson, when they were working on the Phantom of the Opera, another French musical, they, as Cameron McIntosh too, and when they did the test of the first act, he was performing the Phantom. When they tested the first act internally, there's videos of him as the Phantom, so he's technically the original Phantom.
Mhm. And not the only Les Mis person to play the Phantom, because in the 25th anniversary, it is who is it? It's what's his face? Norm Lewis. That plays Javert in his version of Stars is woohoo. Hello. So
there, out in the darkness, a fugitive running, fallen from God, fallen from grace. God be my witness, I never shall yield till we come face to face, till we come face to face. He knows his way in the dark, mine is the way of the Lord. Those who follow the path of the righteous shall have their reward. And if they fall as Lucifer fell, the flame, the sword, stars in your multitudes, scarce to be counted, filling the darkness with order and light. You are the sentinels, silent and sure, keeping watch in the night, keeping watch in the night.
No, I mean, this is not an easy show, as much as we're kind of taking the movie and throwing it under the bus. I mean, it is not an easy show to perform, because this is, I mean, we call it a musical. It is closer to an opera because everything is sung.
I think they call it. It's really technically called an operetta, I believe.
Yeah.
And I who was it that I was talking to? A relative of mine who doesn't really like musicals that much. I forget who it was. So when I went and see that, I sit there, I'm watching it, and it keeps going and going, and I'm like, I'm waiting for the talking breaks, like this is a long opening song, like, and then the first act was over. It's like, what? Like, what's going on?
They just sang that whole time.
Yeah. Some people aren't used to that, but I like it. I like it actually. It's a good flow, and it feels more epic.
Yeah, I feel like, as long as I know that going into something that I've never seen first. I like musicals, I like theater, I like all that, but I gotta know what am I in for, because do I need to expect talking parts, or is it all just music?
Phantom of the Opera is kind of like that.
Yeah,
Phantom of the Opera is similar to that. I think that maybe a few little talking things, but not so much.
That's another one that I saw, and I'm like, oh, okay, this is all singing. Okay, now I get it, and I understand. Now I'm with you. So that's if I know that going in, I'm like, okay, I can prepare myself and get in that mindset, and I can enjoy it and have a good time.
It's like green ketchup. You're just not ready for it.
Yeah, exactly.
New Coke. Yes, the world's not ready.
You're not ready for the new Coke.
No.
We know.
Pepsi Crystal.
Gotta get in that mental space.
Yeah, but it's I mean, it's a good thing that I was in a box seat. There were some other people in the box with me, but thankfully I was at the back end, and they were far enough ahead, because
they were boxing you out.
I mean, because I can't help myself. I know I can't carry a tune. I am a car and shower singer. But I still found myself just singing along pretty much with everything. So it's like, even by the time it's over, like my throat is sore, and I wasn't even necessarily singing that loudly, you know.
I think the best spot to watch the stage play, if you can swing it, or the stage operetta, is like I got really close to each once, and it was too close. Like, I wasn't even enjoyable. But if you're like in row 20 in the Marat, that, 15 to 20, that's not a bad spot to be. So you can still see the actor's eyes and face, but you can still see the whole ensemble at the same time. So, I think that's the best seat that you can possibly get. But even then, the nosebleeds are fine too. But actually, too close is not as fun.
Yeah, no, because the set design, especially now, the version that they're doing. So Zan had seen the touring version that's out now, as well. So she knew what I was talking about, because you want to sit far back enough that you can see the set, because some of the stuff they do to be able to make it work.
And there's things going
with these
on,
set pieces that come in and out, but then they're doing this thing now, instead of doing like a matte painting, on like a tarp in the background, they're doing projections, which means they can move as
so they have like LCD
people
screen.
are moving. So like when Jean Valjean is dragging Marius through the sewers, behind him you have these projection of sewer tunnels, and as he's moving, dragging Marius along, it's moving along with him,
giving more dimension.
Yeah, it gives it more dimension. And then when Javert is having his big suicide speech, essentially leaving his suicide note,
I bet
in
that looks
song
better.
form, it's the swirling water, and then they do this thing where I don't think it was on wire, but they did something so that they were able to pull him back, so it looked like he was falling backwards.
They can never replicate
it
that.
opened up, and he just disappeared into this projection of the water. So it was so
That's really
cool looking.
When I ever see those, that you never could do it right, but I bet they could do it. I bet that's so much cooler. It's like, if you didn't know that he jumps off a bridge, it's hard to replicate in the older versions of it. What happened? Like, you get that one guy, like the dad that goes to the first musical for the first time. Hey, what happened? What just happened?
Where'd he go?
Yeah.
What's he doing? He's going for a swim.
Yeah.
It's Paris in the late 1800s. It's stinky, and he needs a bath. So that's what he's doing. He's going for a swim. Unlike Russell Crowe's, where it's very impressive, he does this nosedive, but then the fact they added the bit where he like hits like the edge of the cement, so he's like, it's not just him falling into the water and drowning. Like, no, they got to have him hit some concrete first, so you get like a thump, and then he goes, and it's like, really, was that necessary?
That was a bit.
You know how I would have done it?
Make it dramatic.
Yeah.
You know how I would have done it? I would have done it the POV of the river. And you see him kind of like fall down, and you do like a slow motion, you know what I mean? And you can kind of do like a real close up of him like this, and then just kind of like, doing a really tasteful but like artistic way. Then, because you can't help laughing when he hits the concrete.
I know.
It
You're
is.
laughing at the wrong place.
It's like, it's kind of like when I had to rewatch. I rewatched Titanic for Gold Standard, and it's terrible. The boat sinking, and the people are falling off. Trying to hold on to whatever they can, and at one point somebody falls. A guy falls,
the propeller guy,
and he hits the propeller, and he kind of spins around. It's like, I have to giggle a little. Because it's so cartoonish. I'm sure stuff like that actually happened, and it's horrible. But just with the sound effects, it's a bit Looney Toony.
Yeah.
He is legendary in the Titanic community, I guess I should say, because all the YouTube videos that that ever like talk about the movie or anything. They're like, and then there's this guy, and it's like, thank you, propeller guy, you died for our laughs.
Yeah, it's like I'm so sorry. It's like it's such a serious thing. I should not be laughing.
It
but
is.
at the same
It's
time. It's like,
but yeah, same thing with Russell Crowe's Javert. You fall and you fall onto the edge, and it's funny.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, it just is.
I mean, it's still a bit more majestic than. Yeah, I mean, it's more majestic looking than some other versions I've seen where they don't have it's not the big Broadway production. They're obviously on a much smaller budget, and it's somebody standing up on like wood railing and they fall off onto like, a mattress.
Right.
So they obviously fell like 4 feet. So
you can manage it, just jump off it into the orchestra pit.
Yeah. So but yeah, I mean, for me, it's one of those where it's like I almost will take it wherever I can get it. It's kind of like Doctor Who, like, no Who is bad, so even bad Who is good Who, because at least it's Doctor Who. So it's like even the movie version, it wouldn't be my first pick, but it does have some some positive things. Like I really love the casting of Sacha Baron Cohen as Thranduil. So
my only complaint is that both those two are in Sweeney Todd. And there's only so many movie musicals out there. Let's use somebody different.
That's true.
They're great in it, but that's my only complaint. But
that is true. But the Thénardiers are my absolute favorite characters out of all of them, because they are just
steal the show.
I mean, they are awful. I mean, all these themes of what is a good person. If somebody does something wrong, can they be forgiven if they show that they've changed their ways? No, the Thénardiers, they know that they're awful and they don't care.
Enter, monsieur, lay down your load, unlace your boots, rest from the road. Whoa, this weighs a ton, well, travel's a curse, but here we strive to lighten your purse. Here the goose is cooked, here the fat is fried, and nothing's overlooked until I am satisfied. Food beyond compare, food beyond belief. Mix it in a mincer and pretend it's beef. Kidney of a horse, liver of a cat, filling up the sausages with this and that. Residents are more than welcome. Bridal suite is occupied. A reasonable charges plus some little extras on the side. Here we go. Charging for the lice, extra for the mice, 2% for looking in the mirror twice. Here a little slice, there a little cut, 3% for sleeping with the window shut. When it comes to fixing prices, there are lots of tricks he knows. How it all increases, all them bits and pieces. Jesus, it's amazing how it grows. Jesus, what a sorry little loss.
I used to dream that I would meet a prince, but God Almighty, have you seen what's happened since? Master of the house isn't worth my spit. Comforter, philosopher, and lifelong shit. Cunning little brain, regular Voltaire. Thinks he's quite a lover, but there's not much. What a cruel trick of nature. Landed me with such a louse. God knows how I've lasted living with this bastard up the master's arse. Everybody raise a glass to the master of the house.
They're the real bad guys. Javert Swing, not the bad guy. He's kind of like the confused guy.
Yeah.
You know, he's a good guy because he tries to have morals and tries all these different things, but he's so confused.
Yeah.
You know,
Master of the
openly
House,
jealous.
my absolute favorite number.
You know,
it's so funny. It's
I don't
hilarious.
I don't remember them doing it in the movie, but they might have done it. But I remember listening to like on the stage version and even on the complete symphonic version, which they have every little bit, every little short little song and everything, which is great. Is when Jean Valjean meets her in the woods and like they do that little lullaby together, you know, which is the Castle on the Cloud lullaby, but he's playing the harmony. And so, and then they get to the Thénardiers, you know, on a wandering wood, little child, on a man, you know, that kind of stuff.
Then he's like, I will pay what I must pay to take Cosette away. And you can just see the hamsters are running in their brain like, anything?
Yes.
I like the 10th
Like
anniversary.
What kind of Faustian deal are we going to be making?
Exactly.
In a story about forgiveness and second chances, I like that they included characters that do not want a second chance, do not want forgiveness.
No.
And you're like, hey, I wasn't going to give it to you anyway. So
yeah, I mean, the last time you see them in any of the you know in any version is at Marius and Cosette's wedding reception, and they're talking about how look at us, we're hobnobbing with the French elite, and
Paris at me feet, Paris in the dust, and yes, me breaking red with the upper crust. Beggar at the feast, master of the dance. Life is easy pickings if you grab your chance. Everywhere you go, law-abiding folk, doing what is decent, but they're mostly drunk. Singing to the Lord on Sundays, praying for the gifts he sends. But we're the ones who take it, we're the ones who make it in the end. Watch your buggers dance, watch them till they drop. Keep your wits about you and you stand on top. Masters of the land, always get our share. Clear away the barricades and we're still there. Even when the wind is blowing, money is the stuff we smell. And when the riches graces Jesus, when we see you all in hell.
like their very last line, they're talking about, the barricades have been taken down and we're still here, and money is the one thing we care about, and it's like, we don't give a care, we'll see you all in hell. It's like, they don't care.
No, they don't.
And I love it.
There'll be a chopping block with your name on it soon.
They don't care. They don't care. It is so funny. And if you could get a good actor and actress to play those two, it is comedic gold. I mean, the version that I just saw was absolutely hilarious. They were like, when Madame Thénardier gets her bit during Master of the House, and every actress does a little different when she's like, thinks he's quite a lover, but there's not much there. They all do their own thing. In this case, she took a giant baguette and like broke off like a very tiny piece of it, like, for reference.
Remember, we are French.
Yeah. So yeah, the 10th anniversary is the Alan Armstrong, who was part of the original London cast, and then Jenny Galloway. But then the 25th anniversary concert, Jenny Galloway actually comes back as Madame Thénardier, and it's Matt Lucas plays.
Oh God!
Oh wow!
Master Thénardier.
Oh no!
Yes.
Oh boy! Oh boy!
It's an interesting combination of people for that version. because they have it's Nick Jonas plays Marius.
Wow.
Somehow they ended up with the Jonas brother in Les Miserables, and
He
I
was
don't know
definitely
why.
the weakest. For
Yeah.
sure. But he wasn't bad. He just
Huh.
doesn't. I mean, just not. I mean, like, was trained
You
great.
wanna-
I mean, if he would train more, he probably would sound like the rest of them. But you know,
Yeah. And
You
you
wanna
and you
talk
will get
about
people
odd
that
casting
yeah.
choices.
Yeah, that sometimes they'll come back and because they've aged, they'll move into a different role. So like Michael Ball, who is the OG Marius, eventually he came back and was playing Valjean because he was so much older. So
it's kind of fun.
Yeah.
yeah.
It's like Glenn Glary, Glenn Ross, the play.
Yeah.
Al
Yeah.
Pacino
There's
was in the
been some-
movie.
Yeah,
he played
there's
all
been
the
some
different
recognizable
parts.
names in who they've played it, who've been in different versions. Obviously, the movie has a lot of very recognizable faces. Gatton Mazzaro, Dustin from Stranger
Stranger
Things.
Things.
He played Gavroche in the Broadway revival, the second Broadway revival in 2014.
And he can definitely sing. So
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Well, Gavroche is supposed to be this streetwise little urchin who
there you go.
who has a very, very sad death.
I want to see a fight between Toby from Sweeney Todd and Garage. He would throw his elixir at him.
Musical
Mr.
Mortal
Sorrells.
Kombat.
Music. We got to make a channel. Musical character wars cross wars.
That's what we should do. We should get the people that made Celebrity Deathmatch
And
and
Sasha
we'll bring
Baron
it
Cohen.
back, but in this time it'll be fictional character deathmatch.
Yeah, Sasha Baron Cohen can fight himself.
Yes.
There you go. Which one will win out?
The one with the razor.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Have I mentioned how much I love this musical?
Several times, yes.
Couple of times, as I'm sitting here wearing my Les Mis shirt that I picked
It's
up
one of my
when I saw
favorite
it last
musicals
week.
too. It's one of my favorites too. It's epic.
Yeah,
It's like
I've had various versions, various soundtracks on repeat, and
sometimes for me though, it's like I got to take a year off with it.
yeah.
Oh,
It's-
yeah.
It's like
That
it's like
happens with a
medicinal
lot of things.
marijuana.
Yeah.
It's like
Sometimes
take
you
a year
will
off and be
drink.
more effective.
Yeah.
You build up an immunity to it.
Well, I know I was going to see it, so I was kind of getting in that mindset. So,
No, I get it.
but
I love it. I love it. I know it
Yeah.
inside and out.
yeah, it is. It is. There's a reason it is one of the longest running shows of all time.
Mhm.
So, and has such the following that it does. So,
It's
and still
international.
and still collecting new, hopefully new fans along the way. It was funny because the other people in the box with me were there with some friends that obviously they were first timers. So when we had intermission, they were all standing up talking with each other, and there were a lot of questions about what was going on and who was who. And I was like, if you got this many questions and we're only at intermission,
Well,
I
I hope they
get your cliff notes.
This is the,
Maybe
this
they
bring,
went to
this brings
dinner
me,
afterward and they had a big discussion about
Yeah,
like, so what happened?
Yeah.
So this is what I recommend for musical watchers in general, especially Les Miserables, is listen to the music first. Like listen to it a couple times before you go in, because you'll get if I didn't, obsessively listen to it before I watched it, I probably wouldn't know what's going on. And I love musicals because it's quick and it's fast. Like if that's the first time you've ever seen it. So listen to the music first to get familiar with it. And then you go in and you see the performance and everything. It's a wonderful performance. But I think most musicals you should do that with.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I agree.
makes sense.
Yeah, because then you're like already familiar with the songs
Mm-hmm.
to an extent, and maybe you can even like get a sense of what the story is about just listening to the music. But then it's like you're not like blown away by the music, and you're like, wait, what was going on?
Right. Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
That is actually very good advice. So
Yeah.
there you go. Musical newbies or anyone who hasn't or is going in to see a musical you've never seen before,
Mhm.
do that. Especially with something with Les Mis, where there are so many cast recordings out there that you could find one.
And when it's
Easy.
all song, it's definitely gonna be harder to follow. Some of the traditional musicals, when they have dialogue, it's easy for an average person to go see. But when it's just wall to wall music, like operettas, I definitely listen to it first a couple times.
Yeah.
There you go.
The more you know.
Yeah.
Yes.
Anyone have any other thoughts? Just be
Do
glad I
you
did not
hear
break
the
out into song.
people sing, sing the song of angry men.
All right. Well, that is awesome. Well, so let's do this. Ben, where can people find you? Plug your
My mother's
online
basement.
presence. Well, okay.
Come, I need visitors. She throws
He
some
does
roasted
have a
reds at me.
YouTube channel. He's not added anything recently, but I will have it linked.
Yes.
Well, maybe
I can send you the
this is a good-
songs. I can send you
Well,
the
there you
the
go.
2 covers I've done of Les Mis for you. I
Yeah,
was
there
thinking
you go.
about doing for a video. It's been in the back of my mind is to do the confrontation. Do both parts. I want to see if I can do it. So be Jean Valjean and Javert singing to myself. I want to see if I can do it. So
That would
might
be
the next
awesome.
video in the future. We'll see. I don't do it
So-
as frequent
so follow-
as much.
Yeah, follow his channel if for nothing else. There you go. Well, anyway,
Then you can make comments going, "Where's that confrontation video?"
yes,
Stop confronting me
feel
about the
the
confrontation
pressure.
video.
Cool. Well, as for us Fiveish fangirls, you can send us some feedback if you want to talk about Les Mis some more, or musicals, or just whatever we've talked about in the past.
Shalane's feedback coming in 5, 4.
Oh gosh, yes, she's gonna be all over this one. She's gonna be like this, like she's gonna work.
We did a
hard
musical.
in
She's
the
gonna
best-
be there.
in the best possible way.
Yes.
Yes, she's actually home by herself this time because my other sisters, she just had a baby. So I have a new little nephew as of today, so it's very exciting. But anyway, Fiveish fangirls, yes. So send us feedback at fivishfangirls@gmail.com, and you can also visit our website, which is thefivishfangirls.com. That has links to the show notes, to all of our social media stuff where you can leave comments, and then also leave a review on the whatever podcast catching thing you use. But reviews help us out a lot. So thank you all for your support. Thank you for your listening. Your also Patreon. Almost forgot to plug Patreon is in there too on the website. So I'm a little
It's
frazzled
all
today.
linked on the website.
All linked on the website. I'm just calling your attention to it so you know what you're looking for.
Yeah.
But again, as always, thank you for listening. Thank you for commenting and feedbacking and supporting and whatever else you do. We love you guys. Take care. Peace out.
And I'm sure this will not be the last time that Ben makes an appearance, because heaven knows there are enough musicals out there for us to,
Oh yes.
Yes.
to cover.
I'm debating whether I should push for our Halloween episode to be The Mummy or Little Shop of Horrors, honestly.
I got a lot to talk about Little Shop of Horrors.
I
know.
love Little Shop of Horrors.
Yes. Frank Haas
First time
directed.
Yes. I had a roommate who had never seen it before. It was like Halloween's like, I always watch this, and I showed it to her and she's like, that was the weirdest thing I've ever seen. I'm like, but it's so good.
Oh, good.
It's,
Rick Moranis.
it's Alan Menken
Steve
before he
Martin.
became Disney Alan Menken.
And don't forget Steve Martin.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Yes.
Steve Martin is
Mama
part of the reason why I'm
Burners.
terrified of the dentist.
Oh.
I think the
yeah.
only time that Steve Martin and Bill Murray are in a scene together is in Little Shop of Horrors.
Okay, that's awesome.
Yep.
And Bill Murray is like just, random
cameo.
dentist patient number
Masochist.
6.
Yeah.
Yeah. The masochist.
Oof.
Oh gosh, that's a great
It's
one.
so
So
good.
yeah, I think we
when
got
it's
Halloween
settled.
Here we go.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
guess so.
I think we
was
do.
really looking
Oh,
forward
it's
to
just
doing
coming around the
Monday,
bend. Oh, God, we
Yep.
got that out of the way.
but- All right.
You derailed us
Okay.
enough.
So,
Yep.
yeah.
All
Well,
right.
thanks, Ben, for coming on.
Yes,
Thank you for
so
having me.
much.
Sorry, I'm a boomer.
No, that's okay.
Sorry, I work in technology, but I don't know how to work Zoom. Sorry. Sorry about
That's
know,
not your
it
fault. It
happens-
is Zooms.
It happens to all of us. Technology is gonna kill us all one day, I think.
Yep.
Oh yeah. Yep.
We've all seen Terminator. So anyway.
Anyway, we better bounce. I hear
Yeah.
I hear my children getting
Yeah, and I'm
a bit
hungry.
frustrated with their daddy. Where's mommy?
All right.
She needs to bounce.
With that, we shall sign off for this week.
This is Chrissy saying goodnight from Salt Lake City.
This is Sally from Wisconsin saying good evening.
This is Rachel in Indianapolis, Indiana. And don't worry, I do not need to steal any bread to make sure I get dinner.
This never-ending road to Calvary. These men who seem to know my crime will surely come a second time, one day more.
I did not live until today. How can I live when we are parted?
One day more.
Tomorrow you'll be worlds away. And yet with you my world has started.
Thank you for listening to the Fiveish Fangirls. Please visit theFivishFangirls.com for details on how to further support the show, along with information on our nonprofit, Fangirls Give Back. We love our Fiveish fam and appreciate all of your feedback, shares, and encouragement. Remember to keep letting your geek flag fly.
But he never saw me there.
One more day before the storm.
I follow where she goes.
At the barricades of freedom.
Shall I join my brothers there?
When our ranks begin to fall.
Do I stay and do I live?
Will you take your place with me? One day more. One more day to revolution. We will nip it in the bud. We'll be ready for these schoolboys. They will wet themselves with blood.
Watch a man luck, catch him as they fall. Never know your luck when there's a free-for-all. Here a little dip, here a little touch. Most of them are gone, so they won't miss much. My place is here. I fight with you.
One day more.
I did not belong until today.
If you learn their little secrets, I will tell the things they know.
And just with you, my world has
Fortune economy, tomorrow is the judgment day.